What's going on, people? Welcome back to the player ratings. Palace 2, Leicester 1. We'll be discussing all of the individual performances from the game. As always, if you do enjoy the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to not miss out on future videos. Joined by AJ here. AJ, how you feeling? Day after a win? Relax.
Still good, man. It's been a while, man, since I felt this good, man. Especially about Palace. Oh man, it's good to be back in the winning ways.
Exactly, and it's going to be good talking about a performance, individual performances after winning, because there were some good ones, some very exciting ones to talk about. So let's jump straight into it with the goalkeeper. As always, if you share us your thoughts and your ratings in the comment section down below. Vicente, let's start off with him. AJ, we both agree on that, 6. I thought he didn't have to do much in terms of
I mean,
you only made one save. And that's pretty much it in 90 minutes. So it's an average rating. I can't give him any higher or any lower because he didn't have much to do all game long. To be fair, we conceded that goal, but that was a very good shot. I don't know what he could have done with that.
Yeah, it was. He had an average game. I mean, the goal is. I think he commanded the defense pretty well yesterday. I think that was in combination of the whole team and the whole setup yesterday. Yeah, he did have a couple moments where he looked very, very confident, especially when Leicester were trying to sort of take over in the first part of the second half, and he managed to obviously put off a couple decent saves. Apart from that, nothing spectacular. He didn't have to do anything spectacular. 6 pretty much is bang on the money for him.
Yeah, agree. Let's move on to the right back, Joe Ward. He started today. Roy's first game back. Both agreed on that as well, a 6. There was times where they did get by him, but he didn't really cause any trouble. He was more involved going forward, I felt like, by watching yesterday, and he tried to get a bit more involved with Elise. But apart from that, I mean, he didn't do anything great, anything bad. They didn't create that many opportunities from going past him. I know there were 1 or 2 moments, but it's not like he got absolutely, slaughtered back at right back. It's just a normal performance from me.
Same. I think the thing I'm looking at Ward nowadays is, I think from what I saw specifically yesterday, is coming forward and trying to sort of do the whole final third and create that last opportunity when he comes up and tries to almost overlap. His decision making isn't great. It's not. I mean, it's never been 10 out of 10 anyway, but I find that his decision making, especially for a player of his experience and age, should be a bit better at that level.
Well, he's not that player though. That's the thing. You can make that argument about Kleiny as well. I mean, Kleiny's
true, but I feel that Kleiny's better coming forward in terms of what we get, but he was beaten a couple of times, but he was relatively quite solid. He wasn't calamitous in the sense of nothing bad came up from his side. Another bog standard performance from him, to be honest with you.
Yeah. He's done his job relatively okay. Let's just say that. Not bad, not great. Joachim Andersen, let's move on to the centre backs now. 6 from you, 7 from me. I thought he had a pretty solid game. He was, he tried a lot of long balls, only 5 accurate out of 16. And in terms of defensive duties, he won 4 out of 5 aerial duels. Didn't win any ground duels. Not that there was much. There was only 2 for him. And yeah, he had 85 touches, very involved, and he had a solid game defensively. That's what I felt like. Anything that you want to add about it?
Yeah, his defensive work was top. Like he locked out Leicester really, really well. And in the aerial duels in the air, he was very, very comfortable. At no point did I think he was ever going to sort of get beaten. But you touched on it already. His passing and his distribution, especially when he was trying to sort of spray the ball in the air, was pretty terrible, to be fair. It wasn't the usual Andersen that we see, and his passes were very, very wayward yesterday, and we did feel the frustration of that several times yesterday, and that didn't go unnoticed with me. I felt that his distribution was pretty poor for his standard yesterday, to be fair. That's why I ended up giving him a 6, because I felt, at the end of the day, your first job in that role is to defend, and I felt like he defended very, very well. But in terms of the actual starting off the play and creating those opportunities and going back to that distribution scenario was pretty bad. A lot of those passes got lost in midfield. A lot of those passes weren't really getting to where it needed to. And I think especially with the first half, where we were so dominant and attacking and lively, if his passing was a bit more to standard, we could have created something a lot better. So that is where my sort of bugbear was with him yesterday. But his defensive work was great. It's just that his passing wasn't.
Yeah. Mark Gahey, 7 from you, 7.5 from you. So we both rated him higher than Anderson. But for me, I just thought he was more involved going forward. He just tried. Sometimes he picked up the ball. It's not just with the long balls, even though he did attempt a few long balls as well. He got the ball. He just started running. Like at times, he just running past the midfield. And that's what I liked about him as well. We're talking about centre back who had a very solid game defensively. Didn't have much to do. He only had one aerial duel, which he won. He only had two ground duels. He won one of them out of the two. But in terms of long balls, 11 out of 20 accurate, so it's a bit better than Joachim Andersen there. But yeah, he just involved going forward, and I thought out of the two defenders, I thought he was the better one. He just edged it like that because he was a bit more involved going forward rather than defensively, for me, anyways. But yeah, do you agree with that?
Yeah, he was very, very solid defensively. I mean, Gay, we're going to struggle to keep him in the summer. He is solid every game. Doesn't make a mistake. Same again yesterday. Nobody could really get past him. Yeah, there was definitely a few times where he sort of came forward with a ball and started carrying it and sort of dribbling into the sort of midfield, almost the final third. And I thought to myself, oh God, don't lose the ball. But he always seems to get it right. His decision making is top standard, to be fair. So
very good on the ball as well. On top of his decision making, is good. He's got the ability to do that.
He's comfortable dribbling with the ball. He's very, very confident. His decision making is so on point. Like he knows when to spray it across. He knows when to pass it off. He knows when to come forward and carry the ball. Another solid, and I think another thing that a lot of people might have not picked up on is he had a very, very solid game, despite the fact that captain's armband was taken off of him. I know the reasons why, and we've had a few changes, but some players can use that as an excuse to kind of throw their toys out the pram or maybe lose their cool a little bit. But I felt that he was very, very professional considering the circumstances. Top player, man.
Yeah. And also it's to Wilf as well. I think if it was to any other player, then it might be a problem. But Wilf is that guy. He is that guy. He takes the captaincy. There's not going to be many people who argue about that because he's been at the club for a long time, and he's arguably our best player since we got promoted. Well, I think he has been for the past 10 years, anyways. Tyreek Mitchell. Let's move on to him. I like Ty today, man. Well, yesterday, depending on how you want to see it. 6 from you, 7.5 from you. How comes it's 6? That's a bit low. I thought he was involved going forward. I thought he had one of his better games. He was very involved going forward down the left-hand side. And he had 85.4% accurate passes. Ground duels 1, he won all of them. Defensively, aerial duels 1, he won all of them, 1 out of 1. 65 touches, so he's involved like that as well. He's had 3 clearances, interceptions, 2 tackles. I thought he had a very good game. And maybe when we're looking at some of these players that we're expecting a reaction from Roy joining the club, maybe Ty could be one of them as well. Because overall this season, I don't think he's been at the levels that he should have been. I know he's better than that. But yesterday, what he done best was that he was solid defensively, but on top of that, he had that support going forward. He had the overlaps, and we actually looked dangerous like that. And I feel like that's something that we've been missing. So yesterday's performance, I can't blame him. I thought Mitchell was great.
I thought he was relatively quite solid. I thought there was a few times where he nearly got caught out on the attacking side of things when they were sort of trying to put the ball over to Tete. I think if you had a better winger there, I think he would have got exposed a little bit. Coming forward, he did all right. It was a bit more better, a bit more solid. The crossing and the passing when he sort of got into the final third wasn't amazing, though. I thought he had a decent game, and I thought he definitely looked better than he has in recent weeks. But as you'll see with the player ratings going on with a lot of the other players I've rated, what I'm not doing is I'm not getting carried away with just winning a game and then giving everybody 9s and 7s and 8s. To be fair, what I'm doing is I'm looking at it from a whole generic perspective side of things and looking at it and thinking he was good, he was better, but was he at 7, 8 out of 10? I would disagree. I think Mitchell could do better.
You're harsh. Trust me, there's some howlers coming up, and it's not from me. There's some howlers already coming up.
If you
Some crazy
disagree,
ratings
come
coming
find
up.
me in it. If you disagree, come find me in it. You know what I'm like, mate. You know what I'm like. And I'll justify all of it.
No. We spoke about it off air, but he's gonna justify it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. The core rate 7.5. Solid game. Main positive is that he didn't pick up a yellow card. And you know that was the benefit from that. But yeah, I thought he held it down in midfield. Should we move on to Ez?
Yeah, could do.
Yeah, Eze. Now this is a player to talk about. 8 from
Yeah.
you, 8.5 from me. Technically, it didn't count as his goal because apparently it was an own goal. It hit the goalkeeper and it went in. But
It
we
kind of
know
came off
it
his
was
back,
his
didn't it?
goal. Yeah, but we know it was his goal. And forget about the goal for a moment. His overall play, the confidence he had on the ball, that's what I expect from Ebbs. And that's what I haven't seen enough of this season from him as well. And I thought he was very good. Very good. He was that playmaker that we desperately needed. And, you know, there was talks about Roy coming into the club, what that means for certain players. But maybe for the likes of Eze, this one game, but for the likes of Eze, if he continues performing like this, that's one advantage that we can have maybe in the short term because we need his confidence back. And yesterday, he showed it as a player that, you know, back to his levels, back to how he should be played. And I thought he had a very good game. Very good game.
100% agree. This is the Eze that was on the cusp of breaking into the England team, to be fair. This was the Eze that we know he can play, what he can do when the manager believes in him. Now, we're not going to get into the politics of previous management and all the rest of it, but I think Roy definitely must have said to him that, you know what, show him what you got. He did everything. He did everything yesterday. He was dribbling with confidence. He was attacking. He was a constant threat. He was taking all the set pieces. I don't think I've seen an Eze performance like that probably since the end of the Hodgson era. It was amazing to see. He did everything today. He kept working. He kept plugging. Even after Wilf got taken off, it's like he stepped up and he was like, I'm that guy. He showed everybody that I'm that guy. And that is what I want to see from the likes of Elise and from the likes of Eze. And when we got our attacking players on form and they start cooking, we know what's good. And they showed that today. Yeah. Could not be any more happier. Definitely man of the match for me. He was a threat, constant problems, constant stuff to deal with. Brilliant.
Yeah. Let's just see what happens in the next game. I want it to be a bit more
consistent,
you know, on it. Yeah, consistent. That's the thing. We're talking about all these performances today, but it's about the next game as well. It's not just one game you have to perform. We still got nine more games coming up. But yeah, 100%. Great start to the Hodgson era for Ebbs in the first place. So let's see what happens. Jeffrey Schlupp. Now, this is the howler that I'm seeing here. What is this? A 5 from you for Schlupp, a 7 from me. Now, I'm one of his biggest critics. I get onto him a lot. But yesterday's game, I don't think Schlupp had a bad game at all. I thought he was involved, you know, with the attack a lot, trying to get into the box as well. You know, based on what we've seen so far this season, I thought it was one of his better games. But for you, you saw her as average. What was average about yesterday's game?
Yes. Right. Now, here's the thing. In the first half, he was amazing. And the way he linked up with Wilf, and in fact, I'll actually go on record to say even the way he linked up with Mitchell to an extent was a very impressive performance. His passes was all right. He was tough. He was solid. However, in the second half, he turned into Bambi on ice. That's what I saw from him. It was a Jekyll and Hyde performance for me. And I did notice there were a few times where Wilf had to save him when he gave him a wayward pass. Jeffrey Schlupp had a very solid game in the first half yesterday, but remember, it's a game of two halves. The second half, I felt that he kind of went back to his traditional lackluster performances. The first half yesterday, he was actually pretty solid, pretty brilliant. His passing was a little bit more, but his decision-making and his passing was a little bit dodgy in the first half. And in the second half, he was terrible. And I actually believe, hand on heart, that's the reason why he got taken off.
I don't think he was terrible, but I'll give you that. Second half, he did drop off. And if that's why I think he had an average, it makes sense, 2 game or 2 halves. I just thought for, you know, when looking at yesterday's performances, I thought the fact that we won the game, the fact that he was doing the basics right, he actually looked all right going through the middle. for once. And he was driving with the ball. I think that's his strength, driving with the ball, and that's why I thought he had a better game than just average.
But then this is the thing, D. Is it a case of, are we just highly rating these players because he had an all right game and we won? What kind of rating am I giving Jeffrey Schlupp if he played all right and we drew or we lost? That's how I'm justifying it.
Yeah,
because if we had lost that game,
I might not give him a 7, but I might give him a 6. I don't think
fair enough. That's reasonable. Bad. And to be fair, I will go on record to say, especially with this player ratings scenario, is I'm actually not upset that he's been given a new deal because he's a useful player. Going forward, should he be starting every week? No, definitely not. However, for what we got out of him, he did all right. He didn't wow me. He didn't do anything outstanding. He didn't do anything spectacular. I still felt there was a few clumsy moments out of him, and I don't know if he's at that age where he can even iron that out of his game. That's neither here or there. He did have a few decent passes, and I think as a whole, the squad looked confident and comfortable, but I'm not convinced he was the reasoning behind that. I just felt that he was a bit... He was great. He was better in the first half. If he had played the way he did in the first half, symmetrical to what he did in the second half, I would have given him a 6, possibly even a 7. But I felt that he kind of deteriorated in the second half, and henceforth that was the reason why he got taken off.
Yeah. Let's go through the rest of them. We're running a bit out of time. So,
okay.
Elise, 8 from both of us. Very good game. Very good game. And
beautiful French sweet prince, mate. Let me tell you something. He kept plugging. He kept going. If we do lose Wilf, I do believe he is the chosen one. That's what I believe in the bottom of my heart. He kept going. I think in the first half, he really got bullied by, is it Christiansen?
From Leicester. Well, yeah, he's literally kicking the guy. Like, he's not even tackling him.
If it wouldn't surprise me if Brendan Rodgers briefed him and told him to take him out, because he kept getting taken out. He kept getting knocked down. But do you know what? He kept getting back up. He kept creating career opportunities. He kept trying to go at them. Couldn't ask anything for more. If Eze didn't step up and did what he did, he would have been my man of the match.
Yeah. Fantastic. Both of them very good. Hopefully they continue it, because talking about the next player, Wilf now, you gave him an 8, 7.5. I thought he was fantastic before his injury as well.
I couldn't believe when he got injured. He was brilliant yesterday. Get that captain's armband and Roy coming back. I don't know what's kicked in, but that is the best Wolf I've seen possibly all season.
Well, even before the game, he was talking about it. He's talking about his responsibilities. Like, he seemed like he's now the old head in the dressing room. The player that other players look up to him now. There's not that many players to look up for Wilf. He's that player now. He's the experienced pro. But yesterday's game, he was up for it in terms of tackling, in terms of attack, and it was just the basics: going out wide, putting crosses into the box, being his player. And I thought he'd done that very well. Of course, that injury did really concern me, and I'm still concerned. Thankfully, yesterday he did go to the AJ fight, and that means he's still got a bit of movement in his legs. It's not like he's completely can't walk, which is positive.
Well, allegedly, from what I saw, I think he might have a groin pull, so that will possibly take him out for a week or two, possibly.
Well, it might be longer.
I'm not a medical expert.
Yeah, exactly. It could also be 3 weeks to a month. So. We'll see what happens with that. But I thought he had a very, very good game as a captain.
Amazing.
And that was one player that I said it before. That was one player that I was looking at going into this game, because I feel like in Vieira's last few games, he wasn't quite at it. He was a bit, yes, he was playing out of position up front. He didn't get that many opportunities, and we need him to step it up, especially for the next 10 games. He knows how much it means to the fans. He also knows, what relegation battle is like. So, he stepped up to the plate yesterday, and I thought it was great before the injury. Move on to the final player that started. Edward, 7 from you, 6.5 from me. I thought he had a better game than what we've seen most recently, but there's still rooms for improvement. Maybe he could have been a bit better in and around the box, but still, he seemed like a player that was more up for it in this game, which I'm happy with. Now he just has to build on it, just like a few other players, build on it and be a bit more dangerous in the box. That's the one area for me, but I thought he had a relatively solid game.
100% agree. And you're bang on the money there when you said he looked like he was up for it. In other games, you can go on record to say I have moaned and complained and gone crazy talking about he wants the ball to feet. He's not working hard enough. All of that got binned yesterday. I apologize, Edward, if you're watching, because you showed me yesterday. If that's what the Edward I'm going to get week in, week out, I'm here for it. Start him every game, because everything but the goal he got yesterday, he worked, he ran, he came back defensively, he looked comfortable on the ball, he linked up with the attacking play really, really well. Literally, he got everything but the goal yesterday. That was the Edward that I probably hear you telling me about every week in, week out.
He's got a talent.
He's got it.
Talent,
That
bro.
is the Edward I need to see week in, week out. If that's the Edward I get week in, week out,
yeah.
I was very happy with what I saw out of him yesterday. Very, very impressed.
He just needs to, at this point, he just needs to be a bit more consistent. And of course, there's still rooms for improvement as well. But for me, I think he's a good, decent footballer. That's just low on confidence. Let's just say that, because at the start of the season, he was actually scoring goals. Before his injury, he had like 5 goals or 4 goals before the World Cup. So yeah, it just
needs to be a bit more clinical. He'll be fine. He just needs to be a bit more clinical in front of goal, and I'll be happy with him.
Let's move on to the bench. Jordan Ayew, who did come on for Wilf. 6 from you, 7.5 from me, 6.
Do you know what, right? Before that assist, I'll go on record to say I didn't really see anything that stood out for me, to be fair. And I'm not going to get sucked onto the idea just because he got an assist, that makes him a 7, 8 out of 10. Like, when he came on, he did all right, but then he did still lose the ball a couple of times. There was a couple of times where he fell over or dived, if you will. But actually, he got the assist. He did keep working. One thing I must admit about Jordan Ayew, and that also goes back with the contract extension, is he is an option off the bench and he does work hard. But there are some times when I look at him and he really winds me up and he really frustrates me. And from where I was sitting, there were a few times when there were a few groans when he had the ball coming forward and he didn't make the particularly great decision. In the end, he proved me wrong in the concept of he set up the assist. But apart from that assist, I can't go on record to say he didn't do anything else that well.
I thought he was solid going forward. Like, apart from the assist, that's what we said. Apart from the assist, that's a massive thing, though. Apart from the assist, ain't that a massive thing? Like, what's his goal? His goal is...
That makes him a 7.5 out of 10. I don't agree.
Yeah, but that's the production, though. We talk about production. What is he meant to do? He's meant to get goals and assists now, and he's got an assist. So doesn't that push him above average?
But considering he came on for Wilf, which I'll be honest, when Wilf came off, I was worried. But apart from that assist, he didn't really do anything, bro.
Well,
to justify
we cut in a few times.
And then what happened? He either fell over or he lost the ball.
Fair enough, but I feel like he got assists. I feel like 6 is harsh for a player that got assists. By the way, we think this is harsh.
Life is harsh.
We got two more players to talk about. There's a harsher rating than this, and trust me, it ain't Will Hughes that you gave. And I can't lie, the Mateta one is outrageous. But let's talk about Hughes before we go to Mateta. 6, yeah. Look, he came. Yeah. He didn't have much to do. There's nothing really to talk about. Let's move on to Mateta. You gave him a 6 for scoring a winning goal. How on earth is Mateta a 6 when he scored a winning goal? Please explain that to me. What is his objective?
Everybody knows, right, that's been watching this channel long enough and see me jumping on streams and that knows I do actually rate Mateta, but probably a lot more higher than a lot of other guys. In fact, at one point, me and Patrick was justifying that he should start over Edward. But he did only come on for, what, 15 minutes? 10, 15 minutes, was it?
Yeah.
Apart from the winning goal, which, whether it was a piece of skill, whether, be fair, or whether or what the ball just ricocheted and he turned around, we've watched Edward long enough to know whether he meant that or not. And we and I both know that he's a bit of a clumsy genius. Right?
All right. Let's take this back. You said apart from the winning goal. What more does he have to do? He's got the winning goal. What more?
Tompkins got the equaliser against Brighton, bro, because the goalkeeper dropped it. Come on, bro. Come on, be reasonable. Be reasonable.
All right. So what does? Okay, so let me ask you this: for you to give him a higher rating, what does Mateta need to do apart from scoring a winning goal? What else does he need to do? Because I don't know what else he can do.
I don't know, dribble a little bit, actually be on the pitch from the start. Pick one. Just because the man come up, because remember, all right, put it this way. Let me think of an example
as well for the winning goal.
Let me think of an example. I don't know, man. This is a hard one. Right, when Man United won the Champions League and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came on and scored essentially a tap-in, does that make him a 9 out of 10? Or does that make him a 6 out of 10?
Yes.
He
Yes.
just happened to be standing in the right place.
No. But that does make him a 9 out of 10 because his rating, he came on the pitch and done a good job. That's why you have to give him a 9 out of 10.
Come on, D, be reasonable.
Mateta, he came on the pitch. I should have probably gave him a bit higher because he came on the
You
pitch
know
as
what?
a striker.
The problem
in
is,
10
yeah,
minutes, I scored a goal.
you're speaking with this, right? And you're not thinking with this. This is the problem, bro. If you had asked me that question on the 94th minute when I just walked out the stadium, I'll be talking differently. I've had enough time to go home, actually watch him do what he did, think about it a couple of times, watch a few more replays. And he came on, but he didn't do anything spectacular, bruv. He just scored the winner. Do you know what's so beautiful? Even he was surprised. This is what I love about it, right? Even Mateta was surprised because as soon as he scored that winner, he turns around and looks at the linesman.
Yeah,
so he was surprised.
I did as well.
Exactly.
You know what?
He did his job, right? He did his job, right? He came on and scored the winner. Bro, anybody could have been standing there. If Gyro had come on and done that, it's still a 6 out of 10, bro. He came on for 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
You know what I'm laughing about? You keep saying, oh, he only came on, just scored a last minute winning goal. Like, what more can he do? Did he score a world-class finish? Or did he just get the ball in the right place, turn and tap it in? Okay, cool. If you're talking about the whole goal,
I've got an 8-year-old son, right? He could have done that.
No. What?
I got an 8-year-old son, bro. He could have done that.
Right. No, bro. Is that we swap bodies? Normally, this is something that I'll say.
Oh, trust me. You know, right? I love the man, right? And I screamed and lost whatever was part left of my voice, right? Which is not much. And I nearly fell down the goddamn stairs, right? And that guy is giving me such a happy weekend. But sometimes you just have to be reasonable, bro, and be logical here. The only other thing I will give him is he did come on and deal with Shota, which I was very surprised with because that man is a brick wall. He's like a 6'7" brick wall. And it actually was nice to see him kind of get at him a little bit. But let's be reasonable here, bro. He came on for about 12, 10, 15 minutes. And that was the only sub. You're forgetting he missed an open header before that, you know? And he scored. Oh, we're not talking about that now? Yeah, let's talk about. And he scored if he didn't score that header, if he didn't score that header and didn't hit the last minute winner, or if he was offside, are we having the same conversation? No, you're giving him a 4 out of 10.
No, because he didn't score.
You're giving him 4 out of 10. So don't try to throw man under the bus out here. And I don't debate this with anybody. I am happy he scored the winner, and he did his job. He did the minimal requirement of his job, which would give him a 6 out of 10.
Fair enough. Let us know what you guys think about the Mateta situation. Are you more 6 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 9 out of 10? Let us know in the comment section down below. That's it from me and AJ. If you have enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe and let us know your player ratings in the comment section down below as well. And until next time, up the Palace.